Hello again, and thank you so much for joining me for this video. So what I'm going to talk about now is I'm just going to do the traditional kind of syllabus overview that we typically do when we're together in the classroom. Okay, so I'm going to try not to just read the syllabus to you because that would be kind of boring and kind of not necessary. But generally what we focus on in this course is a variety of topics that have to do obviously with the research process and also the statistical operations that are required to assess data that's collected using a variety of research methods. So typically how I structure this course is for the first 7 weeks or so, we're pretty much focusing exclusively on research methods. So we start with the very simple basics, right, that most of you have learned about the scientific method from the time you were in about 6th grade or 7th grade. That's when I learned about the scientific method. So we'll go from there, go from a level of relative simplicity all the way to more complex concepts related to research design. And then in the second half of the semester, it'll be similar. So we'll start with what most of you probably learned in 4th grade, right? The measures of central tendency, like median, mode, all of those things. And we'll go all the way up to dependent samples t-tests, right? So hopefully you guys will remember some of these concepts from Stats 126, but even if you don't worry, because we are all going to start at the same place, basically. So because of everything with COVID and the financial strain that we're all experiencing, I do not require you to purchase any of the textbooks that I use. So I consider it my job to give you access to all of the information that you need. So absolutely do not feel pressured to purchase any of these texts, but they are the texts that I use. And they would be helpful to you, particularly if you plan to go to graduate school or do some kind of independent research project in psychology. These would be good options for you. And they can be purchased pretty much anywhere. Amazon, I believe the bookstore might have some of them. And I also really like VitalSource. If you guys haven't used VitalSource before, it's a wonderful way to get textbooks delivered right to your tablet or your computer. And I know this sounds like I'm like doing an ad for them, but I do really like them, and I use them personally for myself instead of carrying textbooks around. So I thought you might be interested. So the books that we have is the research methods text that I use is Discovering the Scientist Within, Research Methods in Psychology. And it's really excellently written. It's very readable. It's not like a lot of research methods textbooks that are very dry. And they use a lot of real world examples that can be really helpful. So I would encourage you to check that out if you're planning to purchase texts. And equally valuable is our textbook, our stats book, which is Statistics for People Who Hate Statistics. Again, most stats textbooks feel really inaccessible and complicated, but this is a very simple sort of how-to guide for even the most complex statistics. And lastly, we have the 7th edition of the APA manual, which just came out this year. So we are going to be talking about APA style in this course, so it might be helpful to have kind of a how-to guide. Okay, so So now let's talk about how the course is going to be structured, particularly in light of where we find ourselves with the coronavirus pandemic and being online and everything. Um, so basically, what I have chosen to do and what my years of experience teaching online tells me is the best strategy that most of you prefer, is I've decided to keep lecture asynchronous. So basically, what that means is that we will not do live Zoom sessions, or we will not do required live Zoom sessions on Mondays and Wednesdays, which was when our class was supposed to be scheduled pre-COVID. So pre-COVID, it was Mondays and Wednesdays from 3 to 4:15, excuse me. Um, and so what I've decided to do instead of having you guys log on to Zoom every Monday and Wednesday is I've uploaded lecture videos. So you'll see as soon as you log on to Canvas, right, I have 12 different modules. You're only able to see the first 4 modules right now, but we will go through 12 modules together. And the way that the modules are structured is first you see um, anywhere from 3 to 5 lecture videos that you just click on in Canvas, and you can sort of go through them easily on Canvas just by clicking a next button. Um, so what I've done is I've recorded or pre-recorded videos that range from maybe 5 minutes all the way up to 45 minutes or 50 minutes. I try to keep the longer videos fewer than the shorter videos. I try to break things up so that you don't have to sit there and watch a video for an hour, just because I realize that's difficult. So I've basically broken down my traditional in-person lectures into a series of shorter videos. And you can either access those on Canvas just by clicking through the module, or you can also go to my YouTube channel, which I've linked for you, and I have playlists for every module with all the videos that you can just, watch on your phone or your iPad or whatever. So the only live Zoom sessions that I will be offering during our traditional lecture period are what I'm calling clarification sessions. So every Wednesday from 3 to 4:15, I will log into Zoom and I will send you guys the link. And I will answer whatever questions that you are possibly that things that you might be confused about, things that you might want me to review. So it's basically an informal Q&A session. So my expectation is that all of you, or most of you, will have questions. And when you do have questions, you'll log on to Canvas and submit them in the community forum. And if you're not quite sure where that is, don't worry, because my next video is going to be a tour of Canvas to show you where everything is located. But the community forum is basically like, just like a discussion board. And so what I will do is I will keep track of the questions that you guys have on the community forum. And every Wednesday, I will go through those questions. I'll have slides ready, I'll have examples ready, whatever you guys need. And we will spend that hour and 15 minutes answering those questions together. Okay? Again, these are optional sessions. So if you do not have questions, if you're good to go after watching the videos and you feel comfortable with all of your assignments that week, then you are absolutely not required to attend those Wednesday clarification sessions, right? So those are optional. So every All of the lecture material will be in the form of pre-recorded videos that you can watch on Canvas anytime you like. Okay, so lab sessions are going to be a little bit different. So lab sessions are going to be synchronous for many of them, not all of them, but quite a few of them. But you won't be working by yourself. So in the second week of classes, or the third week of classes, I will send you, I will basically divide the class into lab groups of 3 to 4 students, and I will send you your lab group assignment, okay? So that you know who your lab members are. And then when we're ready for our first synchronous session, which won't begin until week 3, what'll happen is I will log on to Zoom and I will divide you into breakout rooms so that you can work with your lab partners on your lab assignment. And you'll find, I think, that that is very helpful, especially when we get into the more complicated stuff. Learning, for example, how to read output from statistical software like SPSS, how to write an annotated bibliography, etc. It'll be very helpful to you to have lab partners to kind of work together with. So what I'll do every week that we have a synchronous lab is I will post a video ahead of time, just like I do with lecture, that will explain what we're doing for lab that week. And I'll also have, handouts, things like that. So my expectation is that before lab on Thursday, from 1:40 to 3:30, by the way, is lab time. So before lab on Thursday, my expectation is that you have watched that video and you have gone through any handouts that I have on your own, so that when I put you in the breakout room, you'll be ready to work with your partner. So you might be asking, why am I choosing live lab sessions when I've already uploaded an explanation of what we're doing in lab? Well, the reason I've decided to do it this way is basically so that I'm on hand to answer questions, right? So when you're doing stats, especially, you'd be surprised how many questions you might end up having, particularly given that this is something that a lot of you haven't done before. And I want to really be available live in person to make myself available to you to answer those questions. Okay? But not all of our labs will be synchronous, so we will be doing some labs asynchronously that you can complete on your own schedule. So what you should do is look in the syllabus where I have the schedule, and any lab session that will not be synchronous is indicated with an asterisk. And again, we will not begin lab sessions until week 3. So we've got a ways to go before you'll actually have to hop on Zoom and be there with us in person. Okay? Okay. So again, because of COVID, I did kind of try to pare down a lot of the assignments that you guys will end up having to do. So really there's only 3 grading groups here, or types of assignments that you're going to be graded on. So we'll have labs. You will receive a grade for labs, and those are worth 25%. The same with your homework is also 25%. And we will have an open note, open book exam. We'll have a midterm exam and a final exam. Okay, So homework assignments are going to be assigned for most of the modules, um, so pretty much on a weekly basis. And they will usually be a combination of short answer, math calculations, and again, SPSS questions. So SPSS is that statistical software that I mentioned. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, we will not, we do not have access to SPSS online. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to generate the output for you, and you're going to interpret it. That's what we're kind of our compromise that we're doing this semester. So yeah, so you might see during the first half of the semester, most of the homework is going to be conceptual, but again, it'll just be short answer questions. And then for the second half of the semester, it'll be mostly computations, math computations, and also interpreting that SPSS output. One thing I do want to mention is that if you have a graphing calculator, that would be very helpful to you in the second half of the semester. It doesn't necessarily have to have graphing capability, but what is helpful in graphing calculations is they have a stat menu, which will enable you to check a lot of your work as you're proceeding through these problems, which is helpful. And I think the most helpful feature of graphing calculators is that you can actually see what you've inputted, right? Whereas with kind of standard calculators, you put a number in and it disappears as soon as you hit another button. So certainly if you have those available, that would be helpful. Again, it's not required, but it is something that students find very valuable if you still have those from, high school calculus or whatever, or even from Stats 126. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to have two non-cumulative exams worth 25% each. They'll both be administered synchronously on Canvas during the lab period. So again, from 1:40 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. The midterm is going to be on October 8th, and the final exam will be on December 3rd from 2 to 5 p.m. And again, the first exam, the midterm, will be mostly conceptual, whereas the final exam is going to be more math-based. Okay, so the last thing I want to mention in my syllabus overview here is that I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. And I consider the syllabus to be a formal contract, right? So I am pledging to you that this is the structure of the course, these are the assignments, and I will not divert from that structure. So everything I've told you in the syllabus will remain, right? That's my obligation or promise to you. And in turn, I want confirmation that you have read the syllabus, that you understand the syllabus, and you will abide by what is mandated in the syllabus, right? Just so we're all on the same page. So what I would like you to do, if you go through the syllabus on the very last page, you will find this agreement here. So if you could sign your name and date it, and then snap a photo of this form and upload it to Canvas by next Tuesday, okay, that will count as your syllabus signature, and I will have that on file. Okay, so please do upload your syllabus signature by next Tuesday, and I will see you in my next video, which is going to be an overview of Canvas. And again, I hope you guys have a wonderful day and a terrific first week of classes.